Many travelers dream of experiencing the beauty of Tanzania, from its stunning national parks to vibrant cultural sites. Yet the costs often seem overwhelming. But with Visit Tanzania for Less, exploring this East African gem on a budget is not only possible, but incredibly rewarding. Whether you're a solo backpacker, a volunteer, or just a budget-conscious traveler, we provide valuable insights and resources to make your journey unforgettable without breaking the bank. Book your trip now with just a $300 deposit and flexible monthly payments until your travel date. For more travel inspiration and tips, follow us on Instagram or visit us at visittanzaniaforless.com. Visit Tanzania for Less, your dream adventure within reach.
And welcome to 22 on 103.7 The Beat this October 18th, 2024. Hi, I am your host and guest, G-Man, and my partner in Christ, Pastor Melvin Burns II. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
They just popped on in. Listen, support the trip for kids to Africa and that Tanzania, man. Listen, if you want to go, check it out. We want to thank our sponsors, Bishop Custom Series and Entertainment, for all your needs. The Bishop. Remember, because it's campaign time, political season, we are interviewing all the candidates. And remember, we give everybody equal time. We do reach out to everyone. The people, and the thing has been this rule has been this. Now listen, we give you the time, the opportunity to have equal time. You don't show up, it's on you. Okay, with that said, if you are driving and listening to this and would like to see it, please go to WVS 103.7 The Beat or M106 Facebook sites or all our media outlets, and you'll be able to see them. What is the weather looking like, sir?
Brother, we have a beautiful fall weekend.
Talk to me.
Sunny all weekend. Today, high of 64. Tomorrow, high of 65. And Sunday, a high of 66. Monday, as we start the work week, we'll have a low of 57 and a high of 68. Then things get a little cloudy on Tuesday and Wednesday. Low of 56, high of 66. Wednesday, 40% chance of rain, low 48, high 61. Then next Thursday, the sun is out again, but the temperatures drop with only a high of 54.
Okay. Listen, we are less than 20 some days for all this to be done. And what I want you to do, what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm sharing this information to my page. You need to share it to your page, because we are the only radio station that does this. Interview the candidates, let them talk, and you get to hear. The only station. And I'm proud of that we do that on Torn In too. With that said, would you introduce our guest, sir?
Yes, our guest today is Muskegon County Commissioner Jessica Cook. She's the representative for the 6th District from Muskegon County, and we're excited to have her on the program today. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Your first time.
Thank you both. It's my pleasure.
Jessica,
My honor.
Commissioner, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'll try to be short. So I am in my first term as county commissioner. It has been an amazing experience, but I was able to hit the ground running. I have spent the majority of my career living and working in Muskegon County. I actually grew up in Oceana County. Muskegon was my big city that I came to go to the mall and to go to the movies and go to sporting events. So I moved here right after graduation and actually worked for the county in tourism and economic development, and then worked in community development right downtown Muskegon for quite some time, doing home ownership education for an organization called Neighborhood Investment Corporation. So really got to know all of the players in the community at that point. And working with people downtown trying to increase homeownership in downtown Muskegon. You remember the good old days when you could buy a house with no money down, and everyone was buying a house.
Those days.
Yeah, the state gave you money for first-time home buyer to help with the down payment. So I actually bought a house in downtown Muskegon on Muskegon Avenue at that point, and spent the next 10 years there, got married and had my 2 children there in our house in downtown Muskegon. So really involved in Nelson neighborhood, which is a big part of my district right now.
Okay.
Moved in my career in nonprofit administration took me to Newaygo County for quite some time. I worked at the Community Foundation there and also at True North Community Services, which now covers Muskegon County as well in quite a few areas. So still had my roots in the community, and then started working at the national level. So I worked in executive recruiting for nonprofits, and then also at a philanthropic organization in human resources. And I still work at the national level now for the International Rescue Committee. I work with donors to help retain donors for that big international humanitarian organization. So still keeping my roots in nonprofit administration, but it's just been a joy to get to work in the community again. My district, District 6, actually goes all the way up to Duck Lake Road in the northern part of the county. So
Okay.
I have the southern half of Fruitland Township, all of Laketon Township, all of the city of North Muskegon, which is where I live now with my husband and 2 kids, and then 4 precincts in the city of Muskegon, basically Jackson Hill neighborhood and Nelson neighborhood, but I have a little bit of Nims and a little bit of Marquette as well.
Very diverse.
It is.
Very diverse.
It is. Yeah. And I mean, how better prepared could I have been than to have lived downtown for such a long time, but then also am really familiar with the northern part of the county as well now. We've been there for about 10 years.
So what made you decide to leave private life and throw your hat in the ring?
It was quite the change, let me tell you. I saw what happened at the county commission the previous term, and things got so partisan and so divided to the point where the commission wasn't able to, they weren't making decisions that were for the betterment of the community. And we had this opportunity with every 10 years when the census gets done, redistricting happens, and all of the county commission districts got changed. We went down from 9 commissioners to 7 now. And we had this opportunity where I could unseat the sitting Republican county commissioner from my district. And it just seemed like the perfect time. It wasn't in my 5-year plan. It was definitely in my 10-year plan.
Okay.
My kids are still in school. I maybe would have waited a little while longer, but it was perfect timing, and the cards just were right to make it happen. So I'm really glad that I did.
Now, some of these questions are canned questions that we asked all of the candidates. So with that said, with you campaigning out there, what are you hearing in the streets, the concerns of the people?
So a big part of what I do when I'm campaigning for myself is educating people about what county commission actually has control over. Most of the things that the county commission talks about and works with on a daily basis is not on the general public's minds. We run public health, we run mental health, the wastewater treatment system, the jail. The jail is obviously a big deal to a lot of people and impacts a lot of people's lives. But mainly what people are talking about is the economy and inflation, and just how the value of a dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. Housing, lack of affordable housing. And the cool thing about being a county commissioner is even though we're not directly making policy that impacts that, we still get to be really involved at a local level with the groups that are impacting local economy, local policy. So still able to help amplify the voices of our community, even though when you come to a county commission meeting, we're not often solving economic problems.
Okay. What are the other canned questions? I want to get these out.
let me jump in.
Okay, go ahead.
And a 2-year term goes by fast, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. But tell us, what do you feel like your accomplishments have been in the short less than 2 years?
Yes. Okay. So first and foremost, the main reason that I ran, I touched on before, was the opportunity to flip the seat. So we had a Republican controlled, I'm a Democrat in case you didn't notice. We had a Republican controlled commission prior to that. So with my election, I was able to flip the seat. So now we have a Democrat controlled commission, and it has just been night and day. Charles Nash is our chair. He runs a no drama ship. It's really just been refreshing to get to go to meetings and just listen to each other's points of view and disagree, but still come to the best decisions almost always. That are in the best interest of the county. So that is something that I'm really proud of. Our wastewater treatment facility is now host to the largest solar farm in Michigan. Well, it's under construction right now. It's a partnership between the county and Consumers Energy. Consumers Energy is renting the land from us, so we're making money. We created 200 plus union jobs to build this solar farm over the next 2 years. And then also it's going to generate enough power to power 40,000 homes.
Wow.
So that's a big deal to me. That's something that I'm really excited about. We did just create a new position, which is posted right now, called, I think it's called a housing coordinator, but it's to help solve this lack of affordable housing problem at the county level. We have a lot of municipalities like the city of Muskegon Heights and the city of Muskegon that are working individually and also consulting with each other to solve problems at their local municipal level. But to have someone who's looking at the housing problem from a little bit higher and bringing people to the table and bringing resources into our county to help get more affordable housing on the market. So that's a big deal to me. We also created a Parks and Recreation Commission to help oversee and do better work with all of our county recreation facilities and figure out a way to fund them so that we can take better care of them and make them more accessible to the community too. So lots of good stuff going on.
Now you talked about the commission used to be elected in a disarray, but are you willing to, and I think you've shown that you are, but are you willing to work across the aisle for the good, for the betterment of the community and the county?
Absolutely. And that's one of my biggest learning experiences over the past 2 years has been how much we agree on between Democrats and Republicans. And there are some of us that are very far left or very far right. And just start seeing each other as people first without the politics and getting to know each other and what our own passions are outside of our political party platforms has really helped smooth things over and helps us just get along so that we're making decisions not because of personalities or preconceived ideas that we have about each other and just making decisions for the best of the county. So
do you find that's one of the things people miss about, I call county local government, is how few issues fall on partisan lines versus what's good for Muskegon County?
Exactly. It is still very surprising to me that it's even a partisan rule, to tell you the truth. If we do not see eye to eye on something, it has been more around like accepting federal government funds. One party loves that idea and one party doesn't. Other than that, we are all just doing the best for our county, and it's been really surprising to me to see how much we agree on.
What do you think are the biggest challenges coming? And again, we've mentioned other times you're going from a 2-year term to, if you're elected, to be a 4-year term, correct?
Yes.
So what do you think are the biggest challenges facing the county in the next 4 years?
It's housing has to be number one. Until we make up for the shocking lack of available housing units that we have, no matter if it's at the very bottom of the market or the very top of the market, it's really hard to start looking at anything other than that. when we see people sleeping in their cars in parking lots. So number one, I think that is the biggest challenge that I see ahead. Number two is there's just always room to do more good, but there's never enough money to go around. So that's been a big learning experience for me, is we only have so many tax dollars that we can responsibly collect from homeowners and business owners in Muskegon County, and how to maximize those to the best interest of the greatest majority of people is something that I am really looking forward to learning more and having an impact on in the next 4 years.
Now, let me ask you this question. I didn't get a chance to ask anybody else this question, but let me go back to something you said about people sleeping in cars. Yes, Muskegon, that's actually happened. People are sleeping in cars. They are desperate and can't afford housing and cannot find housing. But I want to ask you a question. How important it is, because it's become a copy and paste generation when it comes into politics, or what they can see on Facebook. They're not reading, they're not studying the issues. It's copy something, and that's what they believe. How important that we actually get in, see what the issues are, and vote that way.
I mean, that's the most important thing. We're voting for people. These are real people that are on the ballot with real experience or lack thereof, and real potential or lack thereof. I was just, I was telling you guys before the show started, the governor was here in Muskegon this morning and traveling around the state and a few other states with 5 other governors and some other elected officials. And the thing that really struck me that one of them said was, the whole world is counting on Michigan right now. This is not a small deal, this election. This is a deal. This is each and every one of us. It's on our shoulders to really understand the person that we're electing, not the ticket, it's the person. You can say that you've been with a certain party for your whole life and you grew up that way, but you have to look hard at who's the most qualified person for the job. And that's our responsibility right now. It is, you're right, it's so easy to just let your little news feed curate itself with what you believe in and what backs you up, because the information is out there to reinforce anyone's personal views. But we all are in control of looking up that real unbiased data and making a good sound decision, because it's all on us. It's important.
And you're just in your first term. Was there anything about campaigning or being an elected official that probably totally surprised you? That, like, I didn't see this coming.
That's an interesting question. Oh, there are so many things. I could talk about 2 different things. One is, you mentioned that our terms have gone from 2 years to 4. So it is so much work to have to fundraise to run a political campaign, and that so it's so much work. Yeah. So the relief that I felt when I learned that the next term was going to be 4 years was just, I can't even describe it, because that's not what any of us necessarily really got into this for. And that's not what we want to be doing. We want to be talking to people, but not asking people for money. So that's one thing that I've learned. You said what surprised me the most? I guess. No, that's it.
One of the things you have to pick. Yeah. The top one you probably don't want to share.
You can see wheels turn in my head.
If you say it, I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah. You say that because we hear that from candidates a lot. It's like, I want to do the work. I don't want to fundraise. You know, and you have to, but that's not uncommon. It's like you want to hear the work. And I know some of the other commissioners have talked about that, going from 2 years to 4 years, just being able to dig in and see things through. And again, from the time you're elected, you're getting ready to run again.
Absolutely. And I'm excited. I can't even tell you how much I've learned in the last 2 years about how decisions get made, how to influence decisions,
Mhm.
and how to make change happen. And everything takes a very long time. Then nothing happens quickly.
Yeah.
We all know this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm excited about the 4-year term.
One thing I want to go back to when you said that how important Michigan is that I want you to talk to that person that's maybe not thinking of voting and staying home, but don't understand that really Michigan is a huge, huge part of who wins or who takes the loss.
That's what was just drummed into our heads this morning from the governor. Is literally the world is depending on Michigan right now to come through. Someone quoted, I hope that I have this statistic right, that the last presidential election, 2 votes per precinct would have changed the presidential election in a different direction. Not this one, 2000.
I
When
think
was it?
probably 2020.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that is a shocking number. 2 people per precinct. We're talking to you.
Mhm.
2 people can change things. So there hasn't been it. Every election is important, but and I think if people are on the fence, like feeling like they're just not sure, and sometimes it's easier to say, I'm just not going to vote. It's not. We all have to vote this time. It's so important.
No, I've actually run into people, talking to people that say that they're gonna stay home on the couch and not vote this election.
People think it doesn't impact them. It does. It impacts. The consequences are big right now.
There's probably been times when it's been true that it's difficult to contrast, but there's a lot of contrast, whichever way you're deciding to vote. But there's a lot of contrast in the approaches on partisan issues, and there's no place to sit in the middle, really. You got 2 decisions to make, and if you sit home, people are making those decisions for you.
Ooh, I like that. That's exactly it.
Feel free to use
I'm taking notes.
Yeah, Jessica, I know some of the commissioners have like town halls or get around to the council meetings. What do you use to stay in touch with your constituents?
My very favorite thing to do, I try to make the rounds to all of the municipality meetings. So I have 4 in my district. Some people have more than me, some people have less. But then I also, in the city of Muskegon, I love to go to neighborhood association meetings. That's the very best place to just really understand what people are concerned about. Jackson Hill and Nelson neighborhood associations are both very strong. And I try to get to those as often as possible. And then all of the neighborhood association leaders get together once a month at the city of Muskegon as well, which is a great opportunity to just stay in touch. But I try to keep my Facebook page up to date with some of the work that I'm doing. That's another big goal for next year, is to get better at my own PR. But we all are just individuals with limited time. But
Right. I want to go back to I keep, because you bringing up stuff. I want to go back to your precincts, Jackson Hill, which has a huge population as far as voting. Nelson neighborhood, the same thing. But Jackson Hill is probably the lowest vote count every time we run an election. The same thing, Nelson is getting better, but still low. What do you say to those individuals? You said it's important, but what do you say to these individuals that Jackson Hill neighborhood is changing, Nelson is changing, but people are not getting out to vote?
The local elections matter, and they do impact people's lives. Sit through one City of Muskegon meeting and you will see the decisions that they're making about allowing higher density housing really impacts Jackson Hill and Nelson neighborhoods, allowing more rental housing, or what's it called, like Airbnbs, short-term rentals. These people, including county commission, we are making decisions every day that impact people. And I love talking to people at their doors, and just talking about little decisions that we make on a weekly basis at the county level that water prices for the whole north side and east side water districts, not the cities, but we impact that. Just little stuff that all adds up to make a big difference in people's lives. And these votes are decided. I mean, some people win their elections by 100 votes. It makes a difference.
Some by 2.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
We've seen that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Jessica, folks are getting their absentee ballots. Early voting will start next week. For our listeners who see this day and later, why should folks fill in that box, make that check mark for Jessica Cook?
Well, I am proud of the work that I have gotten done in my first term. I'm proud of the relationships that I've made and the progress that we've made at the county level. And I really hope for another 4 years to keep making that impact and helping amplify the voices of the people in my district as well as the county.
We asked this question to everybody. If I wanted to find out more information about you or your track record, or maybe I want to get involved in your campaign, or maybe I want to provide you that big check at your door, how can I do that?
So my website is electjessicacook, that's COOK.com. My Facebook page is Jessica Cook, Muskegon County Commissioner. And if you want to see me in action, all of our county commission meetings are streamed and recorded. They're available really easily from the county website. We discuss most of our work at the committee meetings, not at full board. That's a little trick in case anyone has ever come to one of our full board meetings and we just say yes, no, yes, no. Stream a couple of those committee meetings, look at our agendas. We love having guests.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to have people come to those meetings as well. That would be fantastic. But feel free to reach out. My cell number is right on my website and my Facebook page, easily accessible.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Just any final comments as we plan to wrap up this interview?
No, I just want to say thank you. It's just a gift to be able to have an unbiased show that lets everyone be represented. We don't have that opportunity anymore. That opportunity is much smaller than it used to be before we lost most of our local media. So I'm just glad that you're here and that you're doing what you're doing. So thanks very much.
I see that you brought a person with you.
Mm-hmm.
How important is it that we get the young people involved in the system?
Well, it's so important. I think that when we look at the people who are making decisions, the people who are in charge, I'm not young, we don't have the consequences. We don't have to deal with the consequences of our decisions. Most of the people who are elected officials are older than me. I'm 45. But we need people who are working, who are experiencing the impacts of the economy. People like Kylie, who came with me today, who are recent college graduates, who are understanding what the labor market looks like, what the housing market looks like. Those are the people that we need in elected office, making decisions that impact our kids and their kids' futures. So, yeah, super important.
County Commissioner Jessica Cook, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you both.
Okay.
Listen, you are watching and listening to Torn in Two around the world. We are interviewing candidates for the 2024. We are on what, 18 days?
17 and
17.
17 plus
17 days until Election Day. Get out there, look at the candidates, and vote your conscience, and don't copy and paste. You're watching Torn in Two on 103.7 The Beat. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be back with the county clerk of Muskegon, Karen Buie Jenkins, on 103.7 The Beat.
The wait is over. The all-new Umoja Radio Network, home to over 40 Black-owned radio stations and podcasts, is here for you. Connect to the world's fastest-growing collection of unapologetically Black and proud media, from podcasts to independent Black-owned radio stations, and access to the important news and music you need. Umoja Radio is from our culture, by our culture, for our culture. The all-new Umoja Radio is available right now on Google Play and the Apple Store. Join the movement. Be empowered.
Many travelers dream of experiencing the beauty of Tanzania, from its stunning national parks to vibrant cultural sites. Yet the costs often seem overwhelming. But with Visit Tanzania for Less, exploring this East African gem on a budget is not only possible, but incredibly rewarding. Whether you're a solo backpacker, a volunteer, or just a budget-conscious traveler, we provide valuable insights and resources to make your journey unforgettable without breaking the bank. Book your trip now with just a $300 deposit and flexible monthly payments until your travel date. For more travel inspiration and tips, follow us on Instagram or visit us at visittanzaniaforless.com. Visit Tanzania for Less, your dream adventure within reach.
And welcome back to 103.7 The Beat and M106. You are watching or listening to Torn Into, your show for news, information, and more, brought to you by one of our sponsors, Bishop Custom Series and Entertainment. For all your needs, see the Bishop. You too can sponsor this show. Call Lady J at 231-727-5007. Would you introduce our guests?
Oh, wow. Our next guest is no stranger to us here at the show. One of our former colleagues. She's been county clerk in running for re-election. Would you please welcome back to the studios, Karen Buie Jenkins, Muskegon County Clerk.
Hi,
Hi,
Karen.
gentlemen. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Fine. Mr. Burns, it's always good to see you too.
Oh, it's good to see you.
My sister.
Yes.
I'll say that. Tell Muskegon a little bit about yourself.
So we have to be honest. It's really hard being objective.
This one's tough because
We know people come in, but I can't. We're gonna work at being really objective and doing our job.
We got to stay down that line. So
Stay on that line.
stay on that line.
Yes, I am the Muskegon County Clerk. Having the opportunity to serve in a position that you absolutely love twice in a lifetime is simply unheard of and a miracle to me. I served for almost 8 years prior, and I lost my election to Nancy Waters, and I went to the airline, and I've been flying for American Airlines until April of 2023, when I was minding my own business in Dallas, getting ready to fly out the country, and I get a phone call from the 14th judicial judges who said that Nancy had suddenly decided to retire the night before and had called them and asked them if they would please call me and see if I would come back. And they said they had already taken their vote. They just needed me to say yes. So I got on my next flight knowing that I was going to come back home and be the county clerk. So I'm born and raised here. My heart is here in Muskegon. So God gave me an opportunity to serve again, and I am so grateful.
This is a question that Melvin will ask. Why, when you had a chance to just kind of just cruise on life, why did you get back in public service?
Because I think it's just who I am. I love my community. It was a great opportunity to fly the world and see the world, but there's nothing like home. And being able to pour back into the community that raised me. I was raised here in Muskegon and Muskegon Heights. So coming from a family of individuals who have done nothing but serve for their entire lives, it was just a natural fit for me. And so I was just really grateful to be able to come back. It still feels surreal to me 9 times out of 10. As we look forward to this upcoming election, we have 17 days, 12 hours, 4 minutes, and 13 seconds.
But who's counting?
But who's counting? Yeah. So it's been a wonderful opportunity, and I don't know what feels different this time. Maybe because I was new to the job last time and I was still learning. This time, I have a wonderful staff, a wonderful county commission, as you just had our amazing Jessica Cook on earlier. She is phenomenal. And our board is so workable to what it was prior when I served before. It's been a joy. And so because I have such a wonderful staff, we have a great commission, our judiciary is amazing. It gives me more opportunity to get out into the community, which is what I love to do. I've started doing marriages. I've done, I think, about 53 marriages since I've been back. And yeah, it's been amazing. My pastor, I think, is a little jealous because I've been doing more weddings than he has. But it's just different this time. It's more rewarding, and I'm seeing the benefits of our labor.
So, Karen, being back in the office, I think about 2.5 was. Did you finish? You're finishing out a term, correct?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, what do you feel like have been some of the accomplishments you've made in the as you finished out this first term?
Well, one of the biggest accomplishments, and it's always been near to my heart because I sat on the rescue mission board for 14 years prior. So this opportunity came around, and we upgraded our software system to the Tyler system. And what that did was afford me the opportunity to go into the rescue mission. And when we realized that majority of the homeless people couldn't get their birth certificates because, of course, they didn't have a residence to mail it to, they didn't have transportation, they didn't have a financial means to do it, we were able to take our new equipment on site to the rescue mission. And we've been doing this now for over a year. Once a month, we go in and we provide birth certificates on site for those
Okay.
who need them. And it literally has changed lives. We even received a national award from the Tyler Corporation for our innovative ideas. So not only do we do it with the rescue mission, we've expanded to Muskegon Family Care, the Exit Program, and also Goodwill Industries. And so we're looking to expand it to our rural areas for those individuals who don't have the transportation or the means to come into the inner city or to the areas at the county clerk's office. So we're going to start expanding to the rural areas to be able to service those constituents too.
Okay. And for people that don't know, why don't you give folks an idea of the range of services and did you provide at the county clerk's office?
Yes, I have two offices. One is the Circuit Court Records and one is Vital Records. In Vital Records, which is located in 1903 Marquette, Suite A4, we provide marriage licenses, birth certificates, death certificates. We register businesses doing businesses as. We process CPLs. We have genealogy, where we have genealogists that come in and can do research for individuals, or people can come in and do their own genealogy. And we also house our elections division. At the Circuit Court Records, we take care of all the Circuit Court records for the entire judiciary and family court. We process personal protection orders. We do bond forfeitures. We also do housing of DD 214s in the Vital Records. I left that off too. And we work with family court records.
Okay.
Let's go. Question.
Sure. So Karen, I'm sorry, on the screen here from Bonita A. Thread Girl. Thank you for your unselfish gift of service as you upgrade amenities and meeting the needs of our residents. You're meeting people where they are at and changing lives.
Yeah, that's my dream, to be able to leave a legacy of what we've really done. You know, politics really isn't my favorite thing. I just like being in the community. I'm not a very good politician at all. we run our office as a nonpartisan office because everybody that comes through that door is a special client. I don't care what party they affiliate with or who they support. We just want to make sure, especially during the election season, that every vote counts. We just want to make sure that everybody exercises their rights to vote. I I really truly believe that it's something innate with me because my great uncle was Vernon Dahmer, and he was a civil rights activist in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, that was paying poll taxes for Black voters and poor white voters and women who needed to pay a poll tax to vote. And so he was murdered by the Klan because he was paying the poll tax. And Obama gave our family a letter recognizing him as a civil rights leader because he worked with Martin Luther King and Medgar Evers. And the individuals that were arrested for murdering him, they burned down the store, were finally arrested after they had been acquitted earlier during the incident, and went to jail and ultimately died in prison. But moving forward, 3 generations later, because he was my great uncle, here I am fighting for the people to have a right to vote.
Karen, what are you hearing out there in the community, the concerns of people?
The concerns I'm hearing are my vote doesn't matter. What does my vote mean? Are our elections secure? And to that, I say to the person who believes that their vote doesn't matter, one vote can change a nation. And everyone should exercise that right. People shed blood and died. And we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors to exercise the God given right we were given. As far as the elections, the integrity of our elections are impeccable. I can only speak for Muskegon County, but we have so many safeguards in place. What I encourage people to do is to come to the accuracy testing. We have public accuracy testing, which in fact begins at 10 o'clock on this Monday, the 21st. And individuals, anybody can come in. We're going to be located at 1903 Marquette in the Student Center, which is near the health department. And they can come in and test the machines. They can take ballots. They can turn the ballots upside down. They can flip them over and test the machines. Every municipality, we have 23, will be doing public accuracy testing from 10 to 4 on Monday, all at the same time. I also encourage people to come into the polls on voting day and sit in the public viewing area and watch the election process take place. I also encourage people to come and sit and watch the Board of Canvassers certify the election. That takes place on that Thursday following the election. So that will be November 7th at beginning at 9 a.m. at the meeting place at 1903 Marquette. And we have 8 sets of canvassers, both from Republican and Democrats. They sit at the tables together and they validate the elections. They double check to make sure that the tape totals match the blue books with the totals of voters. They ensure that there are no inaccuracies in the count. So for those people that don't believe that the system is sound and safe, they need to come and watch the entire process. A lot of people have asked us about the tabulators. Are they connected to the internet? No, they're just simply tabulators. All they're doing is counting the paper. They're not hooked to any internet or anything. And on election night, the polls close at 8 o'clock, and that's when the municipalities start bringing in their results. And once we have all the results in, we try to upload them as soon as we get them in on the county website, which is a slow process because they're having to drive in from the outskirts like in Ravenna and Casanova and Whitehall. And once we get all of the results in, then it will be Judge Hoops, because he is the presiding judge, who will take all of those ballots along with a police escort back to the county building and secure them until the following Thursday, when the Board of Canvassers, president of the Board of Canvassers, and a counterpart will go to the county building and pick those ballots up and bring them back to the 1903 Marquette for the canvassing to begin. We think that the canvass will probably run until the following Wednesday because it is such a large election. We have to wait until 6 days after the election to certify the entire election because of the overseas ballots that have 6 days after the election to be returned to us.
Karen, explain to our listeners and people that are watching that because people have to drive in with their tallies and stuff, that this process is going to take quite a while.
It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night because because of the controversy, I believe from 2020, we used to have modems where the machines would modem the results in, but that is no longer the case. And so they physically have to be brought in and tabulated. Well, they're tabulated and brought in. The tabulations have to be brought in, and we have to upload them into the computer for individuals to see the results. So when you think about all of those precincts and all of those municipalities having to drive in and bring that stuff in, it takes a long time.
Yeah, it's going to be a long night. And you kind of touched on all the effort that goes into election day and how transparent that whole
Mhm.
process is, and again, you invite people to observe it. But are there any other changes that you're seeing on the horizon, maybe after this election, that folks will talk about, or do you think the election kind of triggers the changes we'll see in the next couple of years?
Um, I think at some point they may go back to modeming because of the safeguards that have been put in place. I think it feels like a horse and buggy days now, waiting for for the
Yeah.
elections results to come in, and people
Mhm.
are sitting on edge waiting to see the
Yeah.
outcome. I just think this election, it depends on the state and the national results, how
Yeah.
long it's going to take for everything to be certified. Um, and we've gotten a lot of information and cautions about being safe on election day because there's been
Mhm.
so many threats made, not so much here in Muskegon, but around the country.
Sure.
So on election day, the Vital Records Office will not be open,
Okay.
just to ensure that my staff stay safe.
Okay.
Um, and I'm sure that's going to probably happen around the country, because you don't want everybody walking in to the elections office on that day. So
Mhm.
we're just making sure, even with our clerks, they will be greeted at the front desk and let in by the police, and they will stand in the public area too. They will not be allowed back to the secure area.
Okay.
Karen, what do you say to people? You have been this year and last given just about every award for your work. Talk a little bit what that means to you.
Um, I'm honored and I'm humbled, and I don't take credit for that because I couldn't have done it without my community. I couldn't have done it without my staff. And I always say I stand on the shoulders of my ancestors, people that gave in the past so that I could do what I'm doing today. So I'm incredibly honored. Every time something is given to me in the manner of an award, I'm just overwhelmed. I appreciate everything, but it's a group effort. It's not just me. I just thank everybody that supports our efforts, and I accept it on behalf of everyone.
And talk a little bit about your staff there. I had an experience with them earlier this year, which you knew nothing about until you accidentally saw me in your office. And it'll sound biased if I say this, but I will say it to anybody. Had something I had to do last minute, and I said, "Well, let me use my connection." And you never saw my text message. And then that your staff took care of me, and I text you back and said, "Don't worry, they're handling it really well." And
Yeah.
so, again, I would say this to anybody, but just talk a little about your staff because they really, I knowing it working in a government office, I know how it can be. You won't have a process, but just talk a little bit about your staff and sort of how you lead them to work with the public?
Um, I have a phenomenal staff. I treat them like they're family and they treat me like I'm family. I think it's important to set an atmosphere of professionalism, and being able to work together. Um, I've really never experienced a staff like this. I have Lori Hayes, who is my elections coordinator, and we call her the GOAT because she's one of the best in the state. And they work hard. They work overtime. They do things that I don't even ask them to do. They're very self-motivated. Um, we love to make sure that our clients, everybody that walks through the door, feels like they're the only person in the room. And we try to keep that atmosphere there. That office can be very overwhelming at times, especially during election season. And with people coming in, we have a happy time. They call our office the happy office because we do marriage licenses and you know and the circuit court records not so much because they're doing PPOs and people that come in there are not that happy. So my staff at the Vital Records is amazing. The staff at Circuit Court Records is incredible. They're very professional. They're very detail oriented. It's a family atmosphere there too. So I have to split my time between the two offices to make sure that one set doesn't feel like I'm more biased to the other set. So I have nothing but good things to say. We have the best staff, I think, in the country. I mean, we don't have any major complaints from the judges, from the community. I think we're doing a fantastic job. And like I said, it's a team effort. There are no little I's or big U's. It's just team.
Yes, you said it's a team effort. How
Yeah.
important it is because you have to work with everybody, regardless of Republican or Democrat. How
Mhm.
important is it to work across the board? Is the first question, and then I get to the second one.
Yeah, it's very important because one party can't make all the decisions. That's why we have a balance in government. And what I see with the commissioners that I'm serving with now is they understand that, they get that. This has been the most amazing commission that I've worked with. I'm so happy that they're going to 4-year terms because it makes it so much better for consistency if you have commissioners that are there for at least 4 years. It's really difficult because I'm the clerk of the commissioners. When you have infighting or disagreements and you hate to go to commission meeting because you don't know what's going to happen. I don't have that right now, and I hope it continues that way.
What do you say to the people that say that it's still with all the safeguards that it is a chance to rig an election?
I say it's impossible. You would have to have every Republican and every Democrat conspiring together, which that's never going to happen. They can't agree on what time of day the election should start. So that would never happen. In fact, we saw that the results of them trying to subvert the election in St. Clair recently, where there were voters that tried to vote twice, and the clerks that they were dealing with were conspiring with them, and now they're all facing 9-year felonies. So the system works. During the August primary, we had a gentleman who even came before the commission and admitted that he tried to vote twice.
Yep.
Yeah. And so his case is right now with our prosecutor because we have zero tolerance for that. Don't try us like that. It's not going to work. There are too many safeguards in place. And it's just impossible. The machines can't be manipulated. All of that nonsense, that conspiracy, it's just not true. There's just no way. So I'm thankful that we have such a secure election system. I have full faith and ability in that, and I'm praying that our constituents feel the same way. That's why I push for them to come and watch the system, so that negates any of the issues that the conspiracy people are trying to promote to hinder our election, and that's what I call it, hindering it.
Mian, I believe we do have a question if you can bring that up. Karen, why should I get up and vote for you?
Well, actually, they get up and vote for me because I think I have a proven track record that this job is not. It may look easy, but it's not. I have to have the ability to make sure that I have great staff, that I'm able to run the elections, that I'm able to make sure that the judges and their circuit court records are secure and safe, to do personal protection orders. Um, I believe that I am. Uh, a result of my community, that I hold in high esteem my integrity to ensure that our office runs flawlessly. I have an open door policy. Anybody can reach me. And I'm willing to work for the people. I work for the people. I don't work for myself. I work for the people.
Karen, talk a little bit about early voting, absentee ballots, and again, Michigan is probably one of the states where we make it easy for people to vote. So, would you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, Proposition 2, which was voted in by the people of Michigan, instituted early voting, which began in February of this year. Was the first time Michigan has had early voting. It begins the October 26th, and part of what I did was to consolidate voting, early voting. And the reason why that happened is because we have smaller jurisdictions that don't have the personnel to run early voting, because it's 9 straight days, 2 Saturdays and 2 Sundays, that they have to remain open. And it was the cost factor. So what we did, Lori Hayes and I designed a consolidated site. We were one of the few counties in Michigan. In fact, we began looking as a prototype for the rest of the state. So all 22 of our jurisdictions have consolidated. They all do the early voting. All the voters come to 1903 Marquette. Everybody agreed to do the consolidation except for Dalton and Holton. So they run their own at a cost of $50,000 a year.
Wow.
With the consolidated site, those that participated only get a bill for about $2,000. So I saved the county $1.4 million by consolidating.
Wow. Let's go to the board. Darwin L. Smith.
Gentlemen, Darwin L. Smith, thank you for assembling an amazing team to perform public service at its highest level with professionalism, style, and grace for all votes to be protected.
Thank you, Darwin.
Karen, this election, if I don't think people really understand that what's at stake here. This election, we say it every year, but this election means a lot to democracy itself. Your thoughts?
I agree. Democracy is at stake. We're watching the voter suppression issues out of different states. We're looking at the Project 2025, which is extremely alarming. We're seeing the violent rhetoric that's being displayed. And so for us to get back our democracy, everyone has to get out and vote. It's so vitally important. I think in our lifetime, this is probably the most important election we will ever see. And so we have to ensure that our rights are protected. Think about the Voting Rights Act. It hasn't even become law after all this time. So there's so many issues that need to be addressed and rectified that I believe this is a time in our history that we're going to see our country come together. It's been so divisive, and there's 2 choices. And we have to really focus on who has our best interest in mind. Who's going to protect our rights? Who's going to protect our health? Who's going to protect us on a national level, our safety and security, national security. That's one of the biggest fears that I have is our national security.
We're running short on time. Karen, if folks want to support your campaign, get in touch with you, how can they do that?
I have a Facebook page, Keep Karen Buie, Muskegon County Clerk. And you can also contribute through the Act Blue. If you go to actblue.com, you can type in my name and my campaign will come up.
Karen Buie, County Clerk, thank you so much.
Thank you, and I really appreciate you all for all you do for this community. Having a news source that's non-biased and nonpartisan is amazing, and we appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Listen, you are, I want to say this. What you did or what happened in the past should not solidify you. But what you do today in the present moment is what defines you. So make every moment memorable and every second count. Go out and sow that seed in somebody's life. You never know who you might be touching. Get out and vote. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next week on Torn Into.
The wait is over. The all-new Umoja Radio Network, home to over 40 Black-owned radio stations and podcasts, is here for you. Connect to the world's fastest-growing collection of unapologetically Black and proud media, from podcasts to independent Black-owned radio stations, and access to the important news and music you need. Umoja Radio is from our culture, by our culture, for our culture. The all-new Umoja Radio is available right now on Google Play and the Apple Store. Join the movement. Be